Most of the decks on this channel are budget decks. Decks right at $100 or even cheaper are fun and challenging to build, and I enjoy exploring different archetypes within that restriction. That being said, every once in a while it is fun to go hog wild and ignore budget restrictions. I've been fortunate enough to gather a wide collection of Magic cards over the years, and was able to get some of them for fairly cheap, at least by today's standards. For example, a few years ago I traded a Jace the Mind Sculptor for a Wheel of Fortune. At the time, they were both worth about $70. Of course, now Jace is only worth about $50, while Wheel of Fortune is worth about $350. So I lucked out there. I am a firm supporter of proxies in Commander, with the restriction that you only proxy cards you own. Unless it's cEDH, of course. No one really cares about proxies in cEDH. This means I'm able to put cards like Wheel of Fortune, fetches, shocks, bonds, and other expensive cards into many of my decks. It also means I'm able to build a $1,700 Commander deck for my wife, built around her favorite commander from Battle for Baldur's Gate, Miirym's Sentinel Wyrm. I know that I've already done a video around Miirym, and that build was very fun, but it was a meme rather than being a high-powered deck. The deck I built for my wife isn't full cEDH, but it's very powerful and a lot of fun. We've got several infinite combos in the deck, and I'm sure a lot of players at my LGS are going to hate me for building cute stuff another degenerate deck. But I love my wife, and I love seeing the joy on her face as she crushes her opponents beneath her heel. Before we take a closer look at our commander, I just wanted to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel and the YouTube algorithm. I've also started a Patreon for people who wish to support the channel directly. For fans of this channel who have been asking for me to build decks around specific commanders, there is a tier for that. You can sign up on patreon.com/Danon, or click the link in the description below. With that out of the way, let's take a closer look at our commander. Miirym Sentinel Wyrm is a 6-mana 6/6 legendary dragon with flying and ward 2. She also says whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except the token isn't legendary if that dragon is legendary. So for this build, I decided to focus on flicker and clone effects. Now, we can't have too many flicker or clone effects. We do need dragons in our deck after all. We also want ways to protect them, as well as ways to get rid of our opponent's stuff. Which brings me to my checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp. 10 pieces of card advantage. 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal. 2 to 3 board wipes. 2 pieces of graveyard hate. 1 sudden I win card. To start, I wanted to talk about our mana. For lands, we have the usual suspects in Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, as well as Haven of the Spirit Dragon and Path of Ancestry, both of which are great for Dragon and Tribal decks, respectively. We're also running 6 fetches in Misty Rainforest, Scalding Tarn, Wooded Foothills, Verdant Catacombs, Bloodstained Mire, and Flooded Strand. For fetchable lands, we're running Ketria Treelm, Breeding Pool, Steam Vents, Stomping Ground, Rimewood Falls, Volatile Fjord, Cinderglade, 3 forests, 3 islands, and 4 mountains. The rest of our lands consist of Frontier Bivouac, Rejuvenating Springs, Training Center, Spire Garden, Hinterland Harbor, Sulphur Falls, Rootbound Crag, Dreamroot Cascade, Stormcarved Coast, and Rockfall Vale. Now, 2 pieces of ramp that work very well with fetch lands are Ramming Up Excavator and Crucible of Worlds, both of which pair very well with Dryad of the Elysian Grove and Azusa Lost But Seeking. After a Twitter conversation with another content creator, he convinced me that running both Kodama's Reach and Cultivate were better options than solely focusing on 2 mana ramp spells, because not only are they mana ramp, they're also card advantage. Additionally, we have Skyshroud Plain and 3 Visits. For mana rocks, we're running Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Dragon's Hoard, and the Great Henge. We also have a pair of Planeswalkers in Sarkhan Unbroken and Sarkhan Fireblood. Not only are they mana ramp, they're also card advantage. The rest of our card advantage package consists of Worldly Tutor, Teamer Ascendancy, Rhystic Study, Jeska's Will, Windfall, Wheel of Fortune, Kindred Discovery, Genesis Ultimatum, and Echo of Eons, which doubles as our first piece of graveyard aid. For spot removal, we have Beast Within, Chaos Warp, Commit Memory, which also functions as our second piece of graveyard aid, Reality Shift, Abrade, Return to Nature, our third piece of graveyard aid. For counter magic, we're running Negate, Deflecting Swat, and Fierce Guardianship. A Heroic Intervention for protection, as well as a Cyclonic Rift and a Blasphemous Act for board wipes. To support our dragons, we've got Dragon Tempest and Rhythm of the Wild. Both are haste enablers, and Dragon Tempest is practically a win con in our deck. Our dragons consist of Ganax Astral Hunter, Goldspan Dragon, Rapacious Dragon, Scourge of Valkus, Terror of the Peaks, Thrakus the Butcher, Ancient Copper Dragon, Lathless Dragon Queen, Niv Mizzet Perun, Atarka Worldrender, Dracuseth Maw of Flames, Old Gnawbone, Ancient Silver Dragon, Astral Dragon, Utvara Hellkite, and Earthquake Dragon. And now we come to the degeneracy. First up, everyone's favorite Enter the Battlefield themed card, Panharmonicon. Parallel Lives and Doubling Season increase the number of tokens we generate, but Doubling Season also makes it so we can Ultimate Sarkhan Unbroken right off the bat, and put all of our dragons onto the board at the same time, winning us the game if we have a Terror of the Peaks or Scourge of Valkus already on board, or one of our haste effects. Ghostly Flicker is a way to protect our dragons, as well as generate more token copies of them. Rite of Replication wins us the game if we kick it targeting Terror of the Peaks. It can also target Scourge of Valkus and win us the game, depending on the board state. Spark Double is an awesome magic card and sees play in a lot of degenerate combo decks, but having 2 non-legendary copies of Miirym on board that we can copy is gross. Now, as far as I understand, Spark Double enters as a dragon, which causes Miirym to trigger. Spark Double doesn't trigger again because Miirym says another, and this copy of Miirym is the one entering the battlefield. So Miirym creates a Miirym token. The token enters the battlefield, and the stack resolves. So you now have 3 copies of Miirym on the battlefield: Spark Double, the token, and the original. What could be more degenerate than that? How about Deadeye Navigator and Displacer Kitten? I debated long and hard over Thassa Deep Dwelling or Displacer Kitten, and finally decided to give the kitty a try. Thassa gives us 1 guaranteed trigger per turn, but Displacer Kitten can trigger many times, depending on how many spells we cast. With Deadeye Navigator, one of my favorite things to pair with him is Rapacious Dragon. For only 2 mana, we flicker Rapacious Dragon once, and then it goes infinite. If we have Miirym on board, we can make infinite dragons and infinite mana. If we only have a Terror of the Peaks, Scourge of Valkus, or a Dragon Tempest on board, we kill the table. So let's take a minute and compare our deck to our checklist. 58 mana sources, made up of 37 lands, 13 pieces of ramp, 2 planeswalkers that also draw us cards, a ritual, and 5 dragons that create treasure tokens. A little high, but our deck needs all the mana it can get. 14 pieces of card advantage. 9 pieces of spot removal or counter magic, not counting our creatures with enter the battlefield or attack triggers. 2 board wipes. 3 pieces of graveyard hate. No specific sudden I win cards, but numerous combo pieces that can win us the game out of nowhere. My wife loves this deck. We had most of the pieces, as well as proxies, lying around. I'm still going to have to pick up some of the missing ones, but overall I'm quite happy with how it plays. She's gotten to play a few games in with it, and has already cast Astral Dragon, targeting Doubling Season with Miirym on board. And blew up the table. Now, some of you may be wondering why I didn't include Dockside Extortionist in this deck, and the answer is twofold. First of all, I wanted to focus on mana ramp that also drew us cards. Secondly, I wanted to only flicker dragons. The temptation to flicker Dockside with Deadeye Navigator is too great, and I didn't want my wife to feel guilty. Oh, wait, she's telling me to add it. What to cut? I'll make her decide. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. Please like and subscribe for more content. I post new Commander videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Or you can click here for additional videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Data.